Good afternoon and welcome to our weekly show, Ask the Property Coach. Your opportunity to ask questions to me and to get free answers about your property and your property investments. And thank you very much for the very positive feedback you gave us about last week's show. And we certainly have received quite a few more exciting and powerful questions. So without further ado, welcome. This is Carlo Mariani, founder of The Property Coach. And let's get on with the first question that we received. So the first question that we have received is the following. I'm about to buy into a sectional title scheme. How do I know if the body corporate is working well? Well, that's an excellent question because it's really, really important that you understand when you buy a property in a sectional title scheme, that you're not only buying your property, which is called a unit or a section, but you're actually buying in what is fundamentally a small business, which is a sectional title scheme. And you want to know if you are buying into a company that operates well and that is profitable and sustainable or not. So I'm going to give you a few fast track tips on what to do. And the first fast track tip that I'm going to give you is don't spend too much time trying to understand whether the body corporate is working well or not before signing an offer to purchase. Do it after you're signing an offer to purchase. Now, that sounds counterintuitive to a lot of people. That says, well, but if I sign, that might be too late. What about if I find out that the body corporate is not working well? So what I'm telling you is to put a special clause in your offer to purchase. And in your special clause, you are going to say, or you're going to write that this offer is subject to acceptable review of the financials of the body corporate within a certain amount of days that you will set up, you'll define, from date of acceptance of this offer. This way, you can achieve something very important, which is that you are going to give yourself the flexibility, the freedom to do this analysis after you've got the property under your control, after you've actually have a signed offer to purchase. Otherwise, you're going to end up wasting a lot of time doing a lot of these sort of like analysis and due diligence for the one property or the two properties or the three properties that you want to buy. That's not a smart use of your time. I want you to be smart with your time. Okay, so that's fast track tip number one. Fast track tip number two is very simple. Even in today's society of email, instant messaging, nothing ever replaces the power of talking to people. So I want you to talk to two people as part of your due diligence. I want you to find out who the chairperson of the body corporate is. And in some cases, that would be me. Well, I'm certainly like to establish myself as a chairperson of the body corporate where I'm invested. And you ask them, Mr. or Miss Chairperson of the body corporate, please tell me about the financial well-being of the body corporate. Tell me about the maintenance plans. Tell me about, what's happening and what's not happening. That's going to give you a very powerful insight because the chairperson is supposed to tell you the truth. He's not supposed to hide the truth from you. The third thing is talk to the neighbors. You might have visited the property. All you got to do is just sneak out and knock on the door of your neighbor and says, hey, I'm considering purchasing a property, or I'm in the process of purchasing a property in this complex. Tell me about how life is in the body corporate. How well maintained? Are there any problems? That will give you very powerful information. All you got to do is just knock on the door and ask. People are actually prepared to share their life experiences quite easily if you ask them politely and in a respectful manner. The last fast track tip that I'm going to give you about assessing whether you are buying in a good body corporate, in a bad body corporate, or in a sort of like terrible body corporate is ask for a copy of the last 6 months financial statements for the body corporate, because they will give you a very good idea, line by line, item by item, of who's paying, who's not paying. You can look at the money coming in, and you can see whether people are buying or not buying. Because if you're buying in a body corporate where the owners are not paying for their levies in full on time, ultimately that is going to become your problem. It's going to become your problem in so many ways. Delayed maintenance is going to become your problem as special levies. So these are a few fast track tips that are going to help you tremendously in making sure that your purchase, whether you're buying for a first time home buyer, or whether you're buying as an investor, those will be investments that will serve you well for the long haul. So thank you very much for this question. Now let's look at the second question that is coming in. The second question is a million rand or a billion rand question. It says, Carlo, what do you think about Gauteng as a residential investment market? Okay, well, overall, I am extremely bullish about the property market in Gauteng, and there's a number of reasons, and I simply cannot get through what actually makes up a big part of some of our sort of like property workshops, why we love Gauteng as an investment destination. I'm going to share with you a few small snippets. The first snippet I'm going to share with you is that in 1996, Gauteng had 7.3 million people living in the province, and that was according to the South African census. Now, in 2016, their population has gone now to 13.4. So we've gone from 7.3 to 13.4. The population almost doubled, and the last time I checked, the size of Gauteng hasn't doubled. In actual fact, everybody wants to live in a very small part of Gauteng. And so from a supply and demand perspective, there are some very, very powerful positive fundamentals to the investment rationale in Gauteng. And there's another piece of research that came out, I think, from one of the big banks that forecast the population in Johannesburg in year 2030. We are going to have 11.9 million people living in Johannesburg only. It's going to be the first mega city in South Africa. 11.9 million people. I really hope we're going to find a solution to transport other than cars, privately owned cars, because I often like to say that forget about location. Think about traffic. When you buy a property and you want to buy a property that is going to serve you well as a long-term investment, be very cognizant of traffic and modes of transport, ease of transport, the cost of transport, because that is going to be a massive driver of house price growth. So how do I feel about Gauteng? I feel very good about it. I feel very bullish. And I'm telling everybody is, do not confuse short-term noise with long-term vision. Yes, we are in a soft patch of the market. There are many reasons for that, but the underlying positive fundamentals for the property market in South Africa and in Gauteng in particular are very, very bullish. So Gauteng, definitely a great place to invest in if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, no place is going to be a good place for you to invest, because I like to say, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. All right. Okay. So we covered a very big question. So thank you for that question. We are now sort of looking at question number 3 that came in from one of our property fan. He says, Carlo, you have talked in the past about your success as an investor in Johannesburg CBD. Is it too late to invest in Johannesburg CBD? Thank you for the question. That is indeed another great question. And is it too late to invest in Johannesburg CBD? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I actually think that this is a brilliant time to invest in Johannesburg CBD. We have seen the news recently about the upcoming redevelopment of Absa Towers. That goes to show that the big money is flowing faster and faster in Johannesburg CBD, and we like the big money because we like to follow the big money as private property investors. In actual fact, I believe that when I started investing in Johannesburg CBD in 2009 was almost too early. There were some few, call it pioneers of ours investing in Johannesburg CBD, and we've done very well for ourselves. But there's still a very long road. I think that the positive road of growth in Johannesburg CBD is at least another 10 years long, if at all, maybe even 15 and 20 years. Some statistics that might be interesting for you. Hillbrow, house price growth, or call it sectional title price growth in the last 7 years has been 7.2% per annum compound. So it's been a very good story of growth in the last 7 to 8 years. Having said so, what I like about it is that growth has been solid. It hasn't been stellar. And we like that because we want to avoid speculation. We want to avoid bubbles. We want to avoid situations where the market runs too hard and it becomes a speculative market. So that kind of 6 to 8% sort of like house price growth in Johannesburg CBD, highly likely to continue in the future, and rents are still going up, probably not to the same tune, more in line with inflation, but a very robust cash flow positive investment for you. And I am starting to see evidence of the banks having the appetite again to invest, to lend to private investors in Johannesburg CBD. That is certainly going to be a game changer, and one that is going to fast track further the growth, the success, the rebirth of Johannesburg CBD and the profitability of their investment for you. So that's Johannesburg CBD for you, one of my favorite places in the world. I was last week in Maboneng for one of our Women in Property workshops. And by the way, for those of you that haven't booked yet, and we just received so many bookings, and thank you very much. We have an amazing event on the 17th of November in Sandton at Workshop 17 opposite the Gautrain station. It's called Fast Track Your Property Success. We have very limited tickets available for a sheer 249 Rand. It's a full day event, and you can go to quicket.co.za and type in Fast Track Your Property Success, and you get all the details, and you can securely book your ticket, and hope to see you on the 17th in Sandton. So let's go back to our fourth question. Carlo, why am I struggling to find deals below market value? Why am I struggling to find deals below market value, dear community fan? There's a lot of reasons, and obviously I don't have your specific details, so I'm going to share with you some sort of like evergreen principles of what is stopping you from getting deals and what you need to go and get those deals. Okay, so number one, you gotta look at what is the quantity of activity you're conducting in order to find those deals. Are you simply working hard enough and looking at enough quantity of properties to find that one gem, that one gold nugget? We live in Johannesburg. We see every day those mine dumps that remind us of how much ground and dirt had to be taken out of the belly of the earth to find that gold. So if you're not taking out a lot of mud and a lot of earth, you're simply not digging enough. So the quantity of work, the famous Vince Lombardi in the States once said that success is only found before work in the dictionary. Success is only found before work in the dictionary. So that's number one. Number two is, what is the quality of the activities that you're conducting? Because if you do what everybody else does, you're going to get the same results that everybody gets. Okay? So what is the quality of your activities? Are you simply going into one of those like big portals like Property 24 and Private Property and looking for deals there? Because that's where everybody else is going. Okay? You're going to get the same results. You are in the same turf as millions of other people. It's highly unlikely that you're going to find the sweet deals that you want to find. That's an example. We got a lot more sort of like specific techniques and strategy that you should use, but go in uncharted territory. Don't go where everybody else is going. So that's a couple of like tips I can give you. Let me give you another one. Now, this one is a bit more mental, because property is also a mental game. It's not just a game of money. It's not just a game of marketing. It's a game of mind power. Okay. So the biggest reason why you're not getting the deals below market value is because you don't believe that anybody will sell you a perfectly good property to you below market value. Okay. And unless you defeat that belief that you are not worth that deal, and those deals might be there, but they're not going to come to you for whatever reason, you think that's not going to be the case, they're not going to come to you. Finish and clap. Okay. So believe that you're going to get those deals. It's not just about the belief, it's the quality or the quantity of the activities that you're going to do. But unless you can be busy, but if you don't believe, you're not going to get them. Okay. So these are some of the reasons. Obviously, as I said, I don't understand the specific of what you are doing or what you're not doing, but hopefully these evergreen principles will serve you well and our sort of like listeners as well. So I think we are ready for one final question for this weekly live show, Ask the Property Coach. And don't forget, we are going to be online live again next Friday, same time, 12:30. Send us your questions in advance at info@ThePropertyCoach.co.za. I repeat, send all your questions to info@ThePropertyCoach.co.za. And you can use the same email if you want to inquire about any of our sort of like property education, coaching, and success tools that we provide and share with our community members and property fans. So let's get to the final question. So the final question is the following. You gave us some tips last week about fast-tracking our property success. What additional tips do you have for us this week? Okay, well, first of all, let's briefly recap those fast-track tips from last week. Okay, you can go back onto our YouTube channel, or you can go back to our website to see a rerun of last week's show. But let's recap them quickly. We talked about, first of all, use financial leverage, use debt aggressively so that you can make money work for you. The second one we said is buy below market value, especially in this market, in any market. You want to fast track your property success, you got to know how to buy properties below market value. So that was the second tip we shared last week. Third tip we shared this last week is get a coach. You don't have to make all the mistakes. Most of them have already been made for you, including by me. Many mistakes. Too much of a long list to share. I didn't get to where I am without making too many mistakes, and a lot of them could have been and should have been avoided. I was simply young and arrogant, and don't make the same mistake I made. I could have achieved what I've achieved much quicker if I had a proper coach then, in 2003, when I started my investment journey here in South Africa. But let's add a couple of new fast track tips. Okay, one is do things with others. I love the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go on your own. If you want to go far, go with somebody. Do things with others, which might mean invest with others. Market and look for properties with others. 4 eyes see better than 2 eyes. 2 wallets can pay for a bigger meal than 1 wallet. So use the power of partnerships, financial and non-financial, to sort of skyrocket and fast track your success in property. And do it now. Don't do it just now. Do it now. Okay. And one last sort of like tip, fast track tip, is do not discount commercial property investments just because you don't understand it. You know, the real big money is being made in commercial property every day, every week. And do not believe that commercial property is only for the big players. You can go and buy a commercial property, a perfectly suitable and fit commercial property for R1 million. It's like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in many areas of Gauteng. And it does give you a lot of flexibility from certain perspectives. So again, invest in your education and look at commercial properties as a much more scalable business model when it comes to property investments. So ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to sort of like host the weekly show, Ask the Property Coach. I trust that some of these answers have been of great value to you to fast track your property success. Thank you, and see you next week on Friday at the same time.